This is a Toyota Corolla Hatchback XSE, and today we're going to review it. Today we're working with our friends at Heintz Toyota in Mankato, Minnesota.
All right, welcome to our how-to video on the Toyota Corolla XSE. And we're going to start with the driver's information screen. So over on the left, you've got an RPM gauge. In the middle, you've got a 7-inch digital screen that contains your speedometer along with a plethora of other things. We'll show you that in a minute. And then, of course, at the right, you got your fuel gauge and your engine temperature gauge. You got a clock at the top. And then some of your safety systems down here, your lane keeping assist and your gap setter for the adaptive cruise control. Okay, if we move on back to the left side of the steering wheel, this is where all of the buttons are that control your driver's information screen. So if I push left or right, but I'm going to start with left, you can see down here at the bottom of the screen, there's some icons that are going by as I click. These are all the main menus. And then you can go into each menu and you can select different things. So let's start at the far left. And this is, of course, economy. So here in economy, you've got a couple of things. As you come into it, you're going to notice that there are two white dots. That means you can use the up and down arrows. So if I use a down arrow, I get distance to empty and eco indicator. And if I go up, then I get my distance to empty and my total average, and then a little physical gauge here for miles per gallon that I'm getting instant. If I move over one to the right, you get your blind spot monitoring system, and that's all that's there. If I go over one more to the right, I get my media sources. So right now, it shows the radio station I'm on, and if I click up or down, nothing happens. I have to push OK to get to the source. Now I can go between AM and FM and XM, and then if I had, of course, my phone hooked up through Bluetooth, you'd get that. If I had Android Auto or Apple CarPlay engaged, you'd get that as well. Okay, so let's just say I'm going to go back to FM for a minute. Now I get a whole screen where if I go up and down arrows, I can go through my presets. Okay, that's through 6. And at the very top, is 2 white arrows. So if I go to the right, set of presets. If I go to the right again, I get the 3rd set. If I go to the right again, I get the 4th set. So there are 6 pages, total of 36 presets. Okay, and then if I want a particular one, I just press it, and then I just press the OK button. All right, I'm going to go over one more to the right, and here you have your trip information. You got trip distance and total time. Okay, if I click over one more to the right, you have a bunch of your safety systems. And so I can just at a glance to see which ones are on or off. You've got your lane tracing assist, you've got your collision systems, you've got your blind spot monitoring, and this is the road sign reading assist. And then also you can set it to notify you if you're going over the speed limit. But if I just push the OK button once, I can turn it on. If I push the OK button again, I can turn it off. But if I go down to here, for instance, and I push and I hold OK, now I get now I get more information. So I get the notification method. So I can say, do I want to be notified if I'm above the speed limit or something else? So if I go to above the speed limit, I can say only visual or visual and audio. And it bases it off what is read on the signs. So if the sign says 55, it's going to warn you if you're above 55. Okay, I'm going to use the back button in a minute. I'm going to go down to other notification methods. Okay, and apparently it's the same thing. All right, so let's go back again, and back once more, and back once more. All right, now I can go down here to vehicle settings. Okay, so I'm going to click and hold for details. I can have the tire pressure warning system. If I click on that, the OK button, I can set what the pressure is or what I want it to be. And I can also go down to change wheel. I can also schedule maintenance here. So if I press the OK button here, I can either have my choices to reset the data or not reset the data. So I'll hit the back button one more time. I hit it one more time again. And that's the bottom of the list right here. So I'm going to go over one more to the right, and this is where you get any messages that are coming in. I'm going to assume those are not phone call messages. Those are things like notifications from your car when it's time to service your oil, that kind of stuff that will appear in there. All right, and that is all the stuff that's contained inside the driver's information screen. Now, real quickly, you do have a phone button on the left. You do have volume up and down. You have voice command. Over on the right side of the steering wheel, you have cruise control on or off. You have set, resume, cancel, and then this is your gap setting button. And this is your lane tracing assist button right here. You can switch different modes on the infotainment screen, and then you can skip backwards and forwards in radio stations or tracks on the media system here. All right, let's move over to the infotainment screen. All right, so the infotainment screen itself is an 8-inch screen. It has 6 speakers. It includes HD radio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth, Sirius XM, Amazon Alexa, Safety Connect, Service Connect, Remote Connect, and of course, Wi-Fi Connect that has up to 2 gigabytes a month for 3 months. So on the sides of the infotainment screen, you do have a bunch of physical buttons. You've got a home, menu, audio, map. Now this doesn't have navigation, but if Apple CarPlay or Android Auto is hooked up, that map button will pull up the one of the maps from your phone. You've got a seek forward, seek backwards, also a track button, and then phone, and then apps button. Down below, you've got a power, which is a push, and then of course a rotary volume, and then a tune and scroll button over here. All right, so let's go to home here for a minute. You notice I've got 3 screens. So I can have media here, I can have phone here, and I can have something else here. In this case, they have miles per gallon instant economy here every 10 or 5 minutes. All right, if I go to menu, this is where I can get to some of the other things. So if I click on audio, here I've got all my stuff, of course, for audio. So I've got source, and I can select the source here. I can go to presets. I can do an XM replay if XM is playing. Of course, I don't want to do that right now, but I can generate a station list. And then under options here, I can have a bunch of features that I can turn on or off. So if you don't want, say, XM Tune Start, you just click on it and it turns it off. Okay? Under sound, this is where I can get to the treble and bass. And of course, I can use the plus or minus. All right, so you have to use the plus or minus to change things, but you have control there. You got fader or automatic sound leveler here choices, and then of course fade and bounce. And again, here you can't drag on the screen itself. You have to use the actual left, right, rear, and front buttons. Okay, and then you do have a nice little back button that brings you back to this screen. All right, so let's go back to menu. Phone. I don't have my phone connected, but if I did, this is where everything would show up for the phone. Apps. All right, so you can get an app account, an Entune app account on your phone, and then when it's connected through Bluetooth or the USB, so Apple CarPlay, you can get some additional apps to show up there. All right, projection. This has to do with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if I had my phone hooked up to Android Auto, this button here typically turns into Android Auto, or if it's Apple CarPlay, it's Apple CarPlay. All right, under the info button here, I can look at Eco, and under here I got quite a few things: the average speed after start, elapsed time after start, the range, and then of course my miles per gallon here, and then I can clear the information right there. If I look at history, then I can take a look at kind of the history of my driving over a period of time. And I don't know where you can set like the dates and how much you're looking at, but at least I would assume once the data gets in there, you'd be able to see that. Okay, I'm gonna go back to menu for a minute. Okay, we have vehicle alert history. So if you had some sort of alert that popped up on your car for service or whatever, that's where that would be. And we'll go back to menu again. If I go to setup, here's where I can get a bunch of different things. So I can set the clock, right? I can change the language. I can change the projection settings. So if I want Apple CarPlay, I just turn that on. And it says Bluetooth will be disabled when Apple CarPlay is active, and that absolutely makes sense that would do that. Of course, I will leave it off for now. All right, customize home screen. So you remember when we started, we had 3 screens, 1, 2, and then we had a big one here. Well, now you can change that. So if I hit change layout, I can now pick between these configurations. This is what we started with. So I'm going to go to just the opposite, and I'm going to go to this. And what I'm going to do is if I want to, say, change this screen, what I'm going to do is click on this, and I'm going to say I want audio to show up here. And I want eco to show up here. And I want the clock to show up here. Now if I go to my home screen, there it is. Okay. So let's get back to that for a minute here. We had customized home screen. All right, so that's how you do it. So you can adjust your home screen several different ways. You can have the beep. You keep hearing that beep. Well, if you don't want to hear it, you just click that, and now there's no beep. You can set the theme. So if I click here, I can have red, blue, black, and then blue again. So I think this is what we were on right here, black and blue. All right, and then if I scroll down a little bit, units of measure, keyboard layout, delete keyboard history, memorize keyboard history, animation, driver setting. Let's click on that for a minute. So this is going to allow you to link some preferences, such as your audio presets, button colors, language, to a paired Bluetooth phone. So when you get in Drive, colors go back to where you had them, presets go back. And I think one of the best features about that is that the fact that your audio presets go back to what you had, instead of maybe your, whoever else drives the car with you. That's really a nice feature. Okay, you can do software update. You can delete your personal data. Say software information, and of course you have a sensitivity level for sound as you're driving. So as you drive faster, the sound gets a little louder. As you drive slower, it gets a little softer, and you can adjust that there. Now that was all under general. If I go to Bluetooth, I'm not going to add anything, but if I did, I could adjust some things there. You can go to audio, and then if I go to common, I can have it display cover art or not just by clicking it off. And I can do a priority display of grace note on or off. If I go to radio, now I can go right into radio settings. Oh, I can do manage smart favorites. Okay, so then I can list those here. If I hit the back button a minute, I can manage the number of radio presets. So when we looked at the screen before, there were 36. Well, if I only want 6 to show, I just click on 6. Okay, I'll leave that there. But all right, so let's go down to phone. That was the next thing. Nothing connected there. Just again, so I don't, nothing will show. But that's where stuff for your phone would show up. Voice command. Well, you can change the voice volume here by clicking on there and just clicking on the plus or minus. Okay. And you can do voice recognition prompts, high or low, or off. You can train voice recognition tutorials. So if you really want to go through and figure out what you can use your voice command button for, that's a good place to start. Voice prompt interrupt. You can turn that off or on just by clicking on it. And then you can hit the default button, which resets the voice to all the factory-made defaults. Now down here, I've got a little down arrow. So if I click on it, I can continue on to vehicle, and I've got a valet mode, and that's of course going to require a PIN, and you set that in, and then it limits certain things like how loud they can turn the stereo and so forth. And then if I go to vehicle customization, now I can do things with the door lock settings. So I can tell it to shift, to automatically lock the doors when I shift from park, shift by speed, or off. And if I hit by speed, okay, then at a certain set speed, probably 5 or 10 miles an hour, it will automatically lock the doors. Or I can turn the whole thing off. I'm just going to leave it where it was. Okay, I kind of like how the menus open up and everything else stays there and it just pops back up again. Automatic door unlock. Shifting to park unlocks all the doors. So you shift into drive, they lock. Shift into park, and they unlock. And then of course you can adjust it. If you open up the driver's door, everything unlocks. So some nice ways to customize the door locks. You can do a remote 2-press unlock button. That's on or off. Wireless lock when the doors open, on or off. Select doors to unlock. Well, do you want just the driver's door to unlock or all the doors to unlock? Okay. All right. Then you have an auto relock timer, which you can change the time on, but basically it'll automatically lock if you don't. All right. Lock and unlock feedback lights. So if you press the fob and you press the lock, the lights flash. You can turn that on or off. You can do a unlock or lock feedback tone level. Okay, and that's at the bottom of that list. So if I hit the back button here, got a few more things. Climate settings. You can turn the AC mode into auto or you can turn that on or off. And then if I go back one more, you've got light settings. So here you can turn your headlights on or off sensitivity, which is really nice. Some of us like our auto lights coming on earlier or later than others. And here's where you can adjust that sensitivity. Okay, it does have an auto-off timer, and you can set the length so the lights stay on for a certain amount, and it's anywhere between nothing as off and then up to 90 seconds. Daytime running lights, you can have those on or off there, and then the interior lights auto-off timer, you can set that from just, they shut off automatically right away, up to there's a delay of 30 seconds. All right, let's go back. And so that was all under vehicle. Now this does have Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi capable. And so if you set that up, this is where you would go to do that. You could turn that on and then go through the process, set up a password and so on. And then you have the Entune app suite. And you would want the Entune app installed on your phone. And then you have access to several other apps. All right. So let's go back to menu for a minute. That was setup. Display. Okay, here I can turn this whole screen off if I want. And then by pressing any button, it comes back on again. Okay, which may be helpful at night. So down here, you can adjust the contrast and the brightness. And this screen is simply to show you a picture of what it looks like when you change the contrast or you change the brightness. Okay, and then if you want to look at a different picture, you can look at this one and see what the differences would look like. So it's kind of nice. They kind of give you a picture of what it's going to look like after your changes are done. Right? Camera. You again can adjust the contrast and the brightness the same way. Okay, let's go back to menu here for a minute. That's the end of the buttons right here on the screen. Again, the map button, if you click it, it doesn't come with navigation, but you could, if you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto plugged in, it will access, usually on an Apple phone, they do Apple Maps that shows up, but one of your navigation maps will show up. Okay, over here, of course, you got Seek, so if I go to Audio, and I'm on AM, and if I press the Seek button, it's now going to search for another AM station, and I can search backwards if I want. If I press the Phone button, okay, I don't have it set up, but this is where all your phone stuff will come up, and then, of course, if I press the Apps button, this is where you could go and download the Entune app on your phone, giving you access to some more apps that are not on the screen currently. All right. Now, this button down here, if I go back to audio for a minute, if I scroll, this is where you can change your radio station, number by number. So you could, it's like physically tuning. All right, let's say I want 91.7 as my preset. If I just click and hold here, then it changes to 91.7. And remember, I've turned the beep off, so it's not beeping at me. And then this, of course, gives you access to all your other presets. All right, so that's it on the infotainment screen. Just a quick mention again, that does have the Amazon Alexa link, which is really cool. So you can set that up, and you can use Amazon Alexa like you would at home. So you've got just thousands more possibilities of what you can do with the infotainment system once you hook that up, because it works just like Amazon Alexa at home. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.